The story begins by a river in the forest. A bear catches a fish. Just as he's about to eat it, the sound of footsteps startles him. He drops the fish and flees. A dark black female wolf appears, eyes locking on the fish before leaping across the river. Her gaze then falls on a small boy sitting by a tree, quietly crying. He looks up, confused and terrified, unsure if the wolf is a threat. He is trembling, yet the wolf simply moves past him. The boy stares, bewildered, trying to make sense of what just happened. The wolf returns, carrying a branch with a red apple hanging from it. She places the branch gently in front of the boy. The little boy eats the apple, and the wolf sits beside him, guarding him quietly. The boy glances at the wolf nervously, then tries to reach out and touch her. The moment his trembling hand makes contact, the wolf leans closer, settling beside him like a loyal companion. She looks at him patiently, waiting. The boy realizes she wants him to ride on her back. Nervous but trusting, he climbs onto her back. Without hesitation, the wolf carries him away. The scene shifts. The wolf brings the boy to a house, where he is led inside, covered with a blanket, and soon falls asleep beside her. As time passes, a deep bond grows between them. The boy begins to care for her, and his fondness for her only strengthens. The wolf, too, feels the same. She wishes to stay by his side forever. But then she remembers the truth. She cannot remain with him for long, for she is not truly a wolf. She must leave before he discovers who she really is. One day, the boy wonders where they will go next. Instead of answering, the wolf leads him to a nearby village. Confused, the boy wonders why they have come. It is then that he notices the sadness in her eyes and understands. She has brought him here to say goodbye. Tearfully, the boy tells her he doesn't want to part from her, longing to stay by her side. Heartbroken, he hugs the wolf tightly and thanks her through his tears. The scene shifts to the she-wolf reflecting on sending the boy to the village 10 years ago. Now, she longs to meet him again in her human form. If he arrives safely, he would be a young man by now. As she works, she imagines him living a peaceful, fulfilling life, unlike her own. Her thoughts drift to her friends teasing. At 29, she is supposedly far too old for marriage, with 15 declared the ideal age. Irritated and restless, she decides to clear her head by going herb picking. When she opens the door, she freezes. A handsome young man stands outside. His eyes are unmistakable, the same beautiful eyes as the little boy she once knew. He walks past her without a glance, not recognizing her at all. Startled, she snaps at him. He turns, studies her, and asks who she is and why she lives there. She introduces herself as Medi and claims the hut as her home. Unexpectedly, he grabs her hand, urgently questioning whether she lives alone, how long she has been there, and if anyone else stays with her. She slides back and demands his name and purpose. The man steps back, apologizes, and introduces himself as Claude. He explains that he is searching for someone, though not quite human. Medi stiffens. Claude reveals he is looking for a massive black wolf. Panic surges through her as she realizes the truth. He goes on to recount how, 10 years ago, he was lost in the forest and rescued by a wolf who brought him to this very hut. Medi's heart pounds as the past comes rushing back. He asks if the wolf is hers. She quickly says no, silently praying he won't see through the lie. Trying to stay composed, she asks why he's searching for the wolf at all. After a pause, Claude admits he simply wants to see her again, and if possible, he hopes to live with her once more. At the word girl, Medi panics. She asks if the wolf he's talking about might actually be male. After all, one that large could be. The idea is dismissed instantly. Claude insists the wolf was female. Her shining eyes were beautiful, her head and nose soft, and the way she protected him felt unmistakably maternal. That certainty leaves no room for doubt. He describes her fur as smooth and warm, almost heavenly, and admits he wants to touch it again. Medi stiffens, her thoughts racing. Does he desire her body? Flustered, she asks if he intends to keep the wolf as a pet, quickly adding that such a creature belongs in the forest, not the village. Claude steps closer and shakes his head. He doesn't want a pet, he simply wants to live with her. Lowering his gaze, he confesses that he wants to see her again and has thought about her all this time. Medi blushed. He remarks that this is why he has been searching the area. Uneasy, Medi warns him not to sleep in the forest. After a brief pause, he decides to stay in the nearby village. Relief washes over her, and she quietly thanks the gods. Clearing his throat, Claude asks if he can stay in the hut for just one day. If she sees the wolf, or hears her voice, he asks her to tell him. Then he offers her a basket, saying it's a small token of gratitude for her help. Medi freezes, wondering where he obtained it. Flustered, she accepts and thanks him. They both blush. Claude states he'll see her tomorrow, and she reminds him to travel safely. Later, Medi cooks alone, wondering if Claude made it home safely. Regret settles in. She should have followed him. Resting her head on the table, she drifts into sleep. She wakes the next morning to Claude calling her name. Startled, she looks up to find him standing there. He remarks that a woman shouldn't be sleeping in a place like this. Mehdi rushes to him, anxiously asking if he was hurt on the way back. He reassures her, explaining he knows some self-defense. She exhales in relief. Only then does she notice the cloak draped over her shoulders. She asks if it's his, quickly removes it, and thanks him. Claude dismisses it as nothing before asking if she's learned anything about the wolf. She lowers her head, unable to answer. Seeing her reaction, Claude looks just as disappointed. He pulls his cloak back on and says he'll return later. Panic rises in Mehdi's chest, and before she can stop herself, she blurts out that she'll go with him. Mehdi's thoughts linger on the forest and the dangerous beasts that roam it. If she stays with Claude, she can protect him. Then she thinks of the child she raised 10 years ago, now grown, risking his life just to find her. She reminds herself that she cannot let him discover her true identity. Accompanying him is safer than waiting alone and worrying. Claude hesitates, saying he appreciates the offer, but that it's too dangerous. She quickly insists she won't interfere or slow him down. Flustered, Claude explains that he never meant that. The scene shifts as Mehdi packs her belongings and joins him. They climb onto a rock, and Claude reaches out his hand, urging her to come so he can support her. She grips it and thanks him. When he pulls her up with ease, Mehdi blushes, realizing how much he has grown, strong and confident. Claude remarks that it's unusual to build a house so deep in the forest. Trailing his hand along a tree, he adds that it isn't strange, just highly individualistic. Most people who live in places like this are hunters, he says, and the area feels connected to some kind of temple. Mehdi lowers her head and admits he's right. She explains that she was once a saint. Claude encourages her to continue. Mehdi says that people imagine saints as pure and perfect, but that image is merely the temple's ideal. She recalls the temple officials who prayed, preached, and guided others toward God. Girls who devoted their lives to serving the temple were called saints. Some people came to show their faith, others sought forgiveness. Orphans were raised there as children of God, and Mehdi was one of them. The scene shifts to her past. A sick child lies on a bed as Mehdi prays beside him. Another nun asks whether she prepared clothes for the child. Nervously, Mehdi hands them over and comments on how amazing a saint's power is. The nun corrects her, explaining that such acts are called miracles and that saints can only reduce fever. If Mehdi continues to pray, she might one day receive a blessing and perform a true miracle. Mehdi is stunned. As she prays, Mehdi thinks that if she receives God's blessing, she could help those who truly need it. She wishes to become a great saint. Yet she also realizes that God's blessings are given selectively, and even the most faithful may never receive them. She remembers the day a girl arrived from another world. Everyone called it a miracle from God. Though the girl didn't belong to their world, she was blessed. Mehdi approached her, calling her a miracle and a saint from another world, urging her to use her power for the good of all. The girl suddenly shouted that she hated such things and wanted to return home. She said she didn't understand the power, and if it truly came from God, she would use it however she wished. Then she ran away. The temple officials erupted in anger, ordering everyone to chase her. They warned that she would become dangerous if she reached the forest. Mehdi panicked, wondering if they were simply trying to control the power God had given. Another girl rushed to Mehdi, begging for help. Her brother had fallen from a cliff. The scene shifts as Mehdi reaches the injured boy. Terrified by the depth of his wound, she prays and refuses to let him die. Knowing she cannot heal him, she does everything she can to stop the bleeding and bandage him. She tells them to wait and runs to fetch medicine. As she runs, she prays desperately for him to survive, but fate decides otherwise. The boy dies. Mehdi watches his funeral in silence. Someone tells her she did well. Another reassures her it wasn't her fault, saying wounds like that can only be healed by those from another world. Mehdi's gaze drifts to the otherworldly girl. She confronts her, demanding to know why she ran away. The girl pulls back and warns Mehdi not to blame her simply because they share the title of saint from another world. The scene returns to the present. Mehdi tells Claude she never blamed her. She explains that although she was called a saint, all she could do was see. No matter how much she prayed, God never answered. She lost her faith because of her weakness and helplessness, and that is why she fled the temple. Claude gently takes her hand and pulls her closer. He tells her she isn't helpless. Even without the power to heal, she did everything she could. Her kindness alone is powerful, and someone who uses power only for themselves is far weaker, calling her a good saint. Mehdi blushes and thanks him, surprised by how happy his words make her, especially since she is no longer a saint, yet he still sees her as one. Afterward, they eat together. After taking a bite of his sandwich, Claude remarks that he never knew meat and herbs could taste so good together. Mehdi's glad he likes it. Claude declares he wants to eat it every day. Flustered, Mehdi asks if Claude is popular and if he's already married. Claude coughs violently in shock. Mehdi panics, asking if he's all right. He apologizes and admits he isn't popular at all and has no plans to marry or find a partner. Hearing this, Mehdi panics as well. Claude then adds that this is actually his first proper conversation with a woman, aside from someone named Eclat. Mehdi looks at him in confusion. Claude tells Mehdi that Eclat is the name he gave the wolf. He admits he named her without permission. Mehdi is surprised. She teases him for being young. Claude shakes his head and admits he doesn't feel like a man yet. His friends and family pressure him constantly, and to him, no woman could ever surpass Eclat. He confesses she was his first love and that he often wished she were real. Panicked, Mehdi asks what he would do if she were. He answers without hesitation. He would cherish her and make her his. Mehdi is left stunned, her face burning. Noticing her reaction, Claude smiles and asks if she's all right. She insists she is, though her thoughts churn. Eclat is only a memory shaped by his heart, she tells herself. This is different. Loving someone like that is strange. Claude gently places his hand over hers and apologizes. Leaning closer, he murmurs that she might have a fever. Mehdi blushes. Realizing how close he is, Claude flushes and quickly pulls away, apologizing. Mehdi reassures him, though her heart races, shaken by how strongly she reacts to the boy she once protected, now a grown man. The next day, Mehdi stands outside a shop, staring at an apple. The vendor asks if she plans to buy it. She is surprised, thinking how long it has been since she last came here, and wonders if Claude still likes apples. When the vendor asks again, she orders 2. Walking away, she tells herself that Claude doesn't know why she bought one for him. Yesterday, he tried to comfort her, but this feels different. Lost in thought, she hurries down the street and bumps into someone. She looks up. It's Claude. They both blush. He asks what she's doing there, and she replies that she's just shopping. Suddenly, 2 girls rush up behind Claude, demanding to know why he's been avoiding them. He panics and insists he hasn't. Mehdi watches, thinking how strange they are, then remembers Claude's words. This was his first real conversation with a woman. She realizes he must have struggled with attention like this before. Claude quickly tells the girls to wait. Mehdi steps forward, warning them not to trouble him. His heart already belongs to someone. He freezes. The girls gasp, assuming he must love an older woman, but Mehdi quickly denies it. Suddenly, Claude pulls Mehdi into a hug, apologizing for interfering, and confesses that he has a girlfriend. The girls watch silently, disappointed, then quietly apologize and leave. Still stunned, Mehdi asks why he acted so abruptly. Claude looks away, shy, and admits simply because he's happy. He declares that he wants to be with Eclat. Mehdi wonders aloud whether he has ever been good at dealing with girls. He replies that he doesn't sense that awkward aura from her. She feels glad that he has a better impression of her. Mehdi is about to leave, but Claude asks if he can come shopping with her. Afterwards, he helps her carry the bags. They sit down surrounded by their purchases, and Mehdi offers him an apple in thanks. Claude, in turn, wants to give her something and leaves, asking her to wait. Mehdi feels that he is a genuinely kind person. Then she overhears people gossiping about a knight searching for a wolf monster and hoping he finds and kills it. Hearing this, Mehdi bursts into tears, realizing that she is the monster. People believe Claude is the monster-slaying knight. She knows that a knight and a monster cannot fall in love. Just then, Claude returns and asks why she is crying. Mehdi tells him that they should stop looking for the wolf, suggesting it might not even be alive. He is taken aback by her words. It feels strange to him that he has been searching for a single wolf, and even stranger that he keeps thinking of her. Convinced by what everyone says, he decides he should give up. He thanks her for cooperating with him all this time, and prepares to leave. Mehdi calls out to stop him, but hesitates, thinking it might be for the best. Mehdi reflects that since that day, Claude has stopped coming to her. She convinces herself it's fine. After all, it's impossible for a man to fall in love with a wolf. The scene shifts to the past. Wild animals once stormed the village, attacking innocent people. A man grabbed his sword and stepped forward to confront a wolf. Mehdi noticed him trying to flee and realized she couldn't run, leaving everyone behind. Suddenly, the wolf lunged at the man. Mehdi shouted for him to stay back. Seeing no other choice, she shifted into her true wolf form and struck down the attacking wolf. The man stared in terror as her full power became clear. Mehdi thought he was safe, yet he panicked, shouting, "Stay away from me! You're dangerous! Get out of here!" The narrative returns to the present. Mehdi plucks leaves from a plant, wondering if Claude is still searching for her. She questions whether God gave her these powers for this very reason. She reflects that she isn't like him. Deep down, she knows she can transform into a wolf, but she keeps it from Claude. She doesn't want him to see her as a monster, not after being hurt once already. As she carries her things through the forest, a loud, menacing roar splits the air. Medi instantly recognizes it as no ordinary beast. Before she can react, it snatches her container from her hands. Her pulse spikes. This is one of the dangerous monsters she faced in the past. She hasn't taken her true form in a long time. She didn't want Claude to see her as a wolf. Panicking, she thinks, if this creature has returned to the mountains, he could be in danger. Running through the forest, Medi reaches the clearing and finds Claude surrounded by wild boars. Claude notices her and immediately cautions her to stay back, warning that she shouldn't come any closer. Medi urges him to be careful and begins chanting the transformation spell. As she transforms, her thoughts spiral. She knows becoming a wolf now could trigger the same chaos as before, yet there's no time to hesitate. Claude calls her name, and she prays from the depths of her heart until, in an instant, her transformation completes. He stares, stunned by the sight of her full wolf form. Now fully changed, Medi charges the wild boars, striking with force as the startled creatures scatter in every direction. Claude watches in disbelief, realizing that his first love, the one from his past, stands before him in all her power. Panicking, he calls out to her and exclaims that he can see her, fully understanding what she has become. Medi feels fear crush her chest. Claude has witnessed her true form. Convinced she's been discovered and can never face him like this again, she bolts toward her hut. Inside, she thinks frantically about stuffing her money into her bag, packing her belongings, and returning to her human form as quickly as possible. But when she tries to shift back, nothing happens. Panic surges through her as she wonders why her body won't respond. Suddenly, a voice calls from outside. Claude, panting and wounded, pushes open the door and quietly confirms that it is indeed Medi. He suddenly hugs Medi tightly, confessing that he wanted to meet her. She gazes into his eyes, reading the sincerity and emotion there. She thinks to herself that she wanted to see him too. They hold each other, smiling happily through the embrace. Claude gently strokes her fur, complimenting her beauty. Medi smiles to herself, feeling both ticklish and delighted. He continues, commenting on how soft her fur feels. Embarrassed, Medi steps back slightly. Claude, blushing, apologizes and insists he didn't mean to overwhelm her. He asks if she will share her situation with him. Medi thinks that he's saying the right things, but she still feels uneasy that he just touched her. Claude reassures her, promising that she can trust him and that he will never act wrongly. Taking a deep breath, Medi quickly transforms back into her human form, relieved to be in her own body. To her horror, she realizes all her clothes are gone, leaving her exposed. Claude quickly drapes a sheet over her, and Medi blushes furiously. The scene shifts. Medi wraps herself in clothes, still embarrassed, and thanks Claude nervously. Claude encourages her to explain what happened. She clarifies, still blushing, that she didn't become naked on purpose. Claude, embarrassed himself, explains that he didn't mean it that way. He just wanted to confirm that she was truly the same person. Medi admits, ashamed, that she hasn't told him the truth. She reveals that she is the same girl he met 10 years ago, the same person, the same wolf. Claude blushes and confesses that he once thought Eclat was just human. He asks why she didn't tell him from the start. Medi lowers her head, sorrowful, and explains that it's complicated because they can't discuss transformation magic openly. Medi explains that the magic had once been wielded by a rebel against a king and had been hidden in the temple's forbidden records. She tells Claude that if it were discovered, the authorities would execute her. Claude feels a wave of panic. Medi continues, recounting the girl from another world. Back then, she had been cornered, consumed by rage and helplessness, wondered whether such power could be entrusted to anyone with good intentions. She admitted she had sought the magic to match the girl and gain an advantage, though she had not fully understood it at first. She only knew that no one else could wield it. She adds that she cannot reveal her face and lacks the strength to face punishment, which is why she fled. She was desperate for someone to talk to, and in doing so, she lost Claude's trust and love. Apologizing, she says she will leave again and never trouble him. Claude, angry, stops her. He steps closer, takes her hand, and reminds her that she has saved him twice. Holding her hand, he kisses her gently and draws her close. Shyly, he confesses that he has been searching for her for a long time. He calls her his dear Eclat and asks if she will stay with him. She replies that it does not matter to her, thinking only of the favor she did for him as a child. Claude, kind but firm, promises to keep her secret and asks if she has any other wish. He hugs her tightly, declaring that he has searched so long that he will never stop pursuing her if she does not come with him. When he asks again, Medi blushes, her heart pounding, and whispers, yes. Inside, she realizes she has always wanted someone who can accept her powers as part of her. Later, a letter reaches Medi's friend, who realizes that at last, Medi has found a partner for marriage. Claude asks Medi if she will come with him. She blushes and quietly replies that she will. He smiles and suggests leaving immediately, planning to visit his parents' house the next day. Mehdi is surprised. Tomorrow? The scene shifts. They prepare for the journey, and Mehdi falls asleep in the carriage while Claude carefully places her belongings on his lap. He later gifts her a beautiful dress. When she asks if his family is very high status, Claude replies that he is a noble, but it isn't a big deal. Mehdi is amazed. How could that not be a big deal? Soon, they arrive at Claude's house. He greets his parents and requests their permission to marry Mehdi. She quietly notes that it feels like an engagement ceremony. Claude's parents look completely blank, unsure of how to react. Mehdi realizes she expected this. Claude is capable, but she had never imagined his family so serious, with a house so grand. Claude's father addresses her, admitting he feels a little impulsive, and asks how she met him. Mehdi bows slightly and explains that her parents were hunters in the forest and that she continued living that way after they passed. She adds that 10 years ago, while walking with her pet, she met Claude, who had been lost at the time. Deep down, she knows it is just a story she and Claude created together years ago. Claude clarifies that her dog had looked like a wolf, and he immediately fell in love with its beautiful fur. That misunderstanding made him believe the wolf had saved him. Claude's father, flustered, asks if he was really saved by a dog. Claude confirms it, and his father says he understands it happened long ago, but is grateful that Mehdi helped Claude. Mehdi, embarrassed, notes that it occurred 10 years prior. Claude, serious as always, makes his vow. Though he has never been good with girls and has been stubborn since childhood, he has never given up on what he wants. Returning from the forest and demanding marriage is a decisive step. Mehdi thinks she fully understands. At that moment, footsteps echo through the house. Someone enters, and Claude opens the door. Mehdi looks up, surprised, wondering who it could be. Claude's mother welcomes his older brother into the house, calling him Alfred. Mehdi wonders if he really has a brother. Alfred speaks, saying he heard Mehdi had suddenly disappeared, and asks where she has been wandering. Then he turns to Claude, questioning whether he really said he is getting married. Alfred finds it impossible that he would bring a woman into the house whom he barely knows. He calmly insists it is no joke. Alfred immediately suggests dropping the matter, claiming the woman is only there because of the family's status. Claude stands, angry, insisting she is not that kind of girl. He thinks Alfred will become the next head of the house anyway, and since he has already made his decision, it is no one's business whom he chooses to marry. Claude hugs Mehdi tightly, promising that he will marry her no matter what anyone says. Mehdi panics at the thought. Alfred inquires about Mehdi's position, making her even more tense. She silently wonders who he really is. Claude reassures himself that this situation is different and that he has no romantic connection with Alfred's fiancée. Claude's father interrupts, telling him to stop, and notes that Alfred's words are harsh. Mehdi feels a shock run through her. Claude quickly takes her hand, thinking it is enough, and tells her they should leave together. Claude's mother calls to him, asking him to wait. She says Mehdi must be exhausted from the forest and suggests she rest for at least one night. She nervously thanks her, thinking she must have known this would happen. Mehdi lies down, reflecting that marriage among commoners is never simple. Bringing a girl into a house without identity or family recognition is complicated. She knows Claude's older brother will likely disagree. She feels guilty, thinking it would be her fault if Claude and Alfred do not get along. Mehdi wonders about Alfred's fiancée and feels uneasy. Suddenly, a knock at the door startles her. She hears a voice, and her heart jumps. Claude appears, standing in his nightclothes in the middle of the night. Claude and Mehdi sit at the table and drink tea. He apologizes for troubling her earlier and thinks it foolish to come to a woman's room at this hour, but he has something important to discuss. He reassures Mehdi not to worry about the fiancé and mentions that the decision is Alfred's alone. He recalls that he has no connection with that girl. Mehdi, nervous, wonders what kind of woman his fiancé is. Claude reflects that she loves dogs and has been his childhood friend. He remembers learning to love dogs and wolves because of her and notes that the girl has never looked at him strangely. He considers her like a sister. Mehdi panics slightly, then shyly realizes this means the woman is not his fiancée.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away.